Hello and welcome new incoming Covenant Scholars. I am Jane Davis and I'm one of the academic directors here at Carolina Covenant, and my job is to help you connect with resources on campus. I will meet you during our welcome event that we will have in August, but beforehand I thought you might want to meet some Covenant Scholars and hear their advice for transitioning in to UNC. So I'm going to ask each one of them to introduce themselves and with their name and their major and what year they're in here at Carolina.
Hi, I'm Thomas Ellis. I'm a sophomore here at UNC. I'm a political science and history double major with a minor in Southern Studies.
My name is Maribel Herrera. I am environmental studies and geography double major, and I'm a junior here.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Herrera. I'm a senior at Carolina, and I'm an exercise sports science major with a minor in medical anthropology and Spanish for the professions.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm currently a sophomore. I'm double majoring in chemistry and global studies.
Well, welcome everybody to our panel today, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us because we know coming into UNC is a really big step. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with incoming Covenant Scholars one pertinent story about coming to UNC. What was that like for you? And describe the importance of finding a mentor. Who would like to start?
Okay. Well, when I first came to UNC, it was a major change for me. Being on a college campus, you're no longer with your parents, you're no longer in their protective hold. And coming to a big campus like UNC from a small town is definitely a major transition. So it's very important for you guys to use the resources on campus. There's a bunch of opportunities on campus. So for me, one thing I used coming here, I knew I wanted to go abroad. I knew I wanted to study abroad. I didn't know how I was going to go about it because, low financial background. I come from a small town, parents, not really a big fan of leaving the U.S. So I used Center for Global Initiatives, which gave me my first passport, introduced me to a bunch of programs. And I also made use of the UNC Study Abroad Office, which is how I was able to study abroad this past summer in Sevilla. And however, I did all of that by myself. I didn't have much of a guide. I was stressing myself out. I had never been on an airplane before, never been out of the country, never traveled by myself. So it was a very scary process for me. So I feel like if I had reached out and used resources I had, such as a peer mentor, someone who's from Covenant, someone who's traveled before, it would have definitely helped me more. But yeah. So
nice. Thank you.
You can go.
So I think the biggest thing for me when I came to UNC was that I didn't know anybody from Carolina. The only people that came from my high school was me and this other person. And so it was really scary because I didn't know anyone. I didn't know any familiar faces. And I was kind of just thrown out into this big world by myself with no one to really guide me. So I think the biggest thing for me was like not knowing where classes were, not knowing where like resources were, such as like tutoring sessions. And because I struggled a lot in the very beginning with lecture halls, because a lot of your classes will be like your professor talking to you and you having to take notes by hand. And I didn't know how to do that because I had never done that in high school. So I think having a mentor and having them kind of just give you knowledge of what to expect your first year, that would have definitely like helped ease my transition into Carolina.
So I'm a transfer student, and this is my first year at Carolina. I think just the whole transition was stepping out of my comfort zone because I was a junior coming in, and I felt behind because I didn't know anyone here at Carolina, and it was all completely new. So I think stepping out of my comfort zone was where I would go to specific events and force myself to talk to people and kind of network, which is super hard to do, especially when you feel like you're maybe not as intelligent as others around you, or intimidated by like really big scholars. So just not being afraid to say, hi, my name is Marybelle. I'm interested in what you're doing. Can I talk more about what you do? And I think having a mentor is really big here at Carolina. So an experience that I had, I forced myself to get out of my comfort zone. I met with a professor during office hours and just asked, I'm interested in what you're doing and stuff. And then in that process, I later in the semester got an email from him, and he encouraged me to apply to this internship, and he was helping me apply and do all this work for it. And now I have an awesome opportunity to do an internship in Ecuador. So building those relationships are very important, and then just stepping out of your comfort zone to talk to these people is a really big benefit. So.
And for me, it was just coming to Carolina in general, transitioning from a small town. I'm from Wilson, North Carolina, so it's a big transition, living in a dorm with thousands of other people, being on a campus with thousands of other people that are not like any situation you've ever been in before. So just that in and of itself is stepping out of my comfort zone. But then really once you get here to Carolina, there's so many different opportunities and resources. It's like you don't even know where to start. You'll go to Fall Fest and sign up for 80 listservs and then feel overwhelmed by having all of them. And then like I did my first year, I ended up not doing anything. I was so overwhelmed by the amount of things. Really my sophomore year is when I started trying to step out of my comfort zone even more. I joined a couple of organizations on campus, and now I have leadership positions in all of the organizations that I'm a part of, and I plan to continue doing that. And I think a big part of stepping out of your comfort zone to begin with is having someone there that tells you, it's okay to step out of your comfort zone, whether it be a professor or an academic advisor or someone with Covenant. It's really important just to reach out to those people, go to office hours. If there's one piece of advice that you remember today, is go to your professor's office hours. That's really been a major boon to my academic success at UNC, and it's networking and it's having a mentor there to guide you on what you can do here at UNC.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all those good thoughts. And I wanted to see if anybody, as a result of hearing all the stories, had something extra that they wanted to add to that, or if there was something that they learned while they were in high school that they could, or community college, that they could then tap into to find and connect with a person here on campus.
I think for me, so I'm also from Wilson, and our Hispanic or Latino population is very small. And even if it was bigger, I feel like we were very separated with the intelligence, just like with the higher courses such as IB and AP. And I feel like coming to Carolina really helped me create and find my identity as a Latinx student, because I was able to find other people like me here at Carolina. And so I think the biggest thing is like being sure like to find, and it doesn't have to be anything to do with your ethnicity or your race, it's just like similar interest. I'm also part of like a health program, which hopefully in the next 2 years I'll be applying to medical school. So I just feel like it's really key in your success to find people that have similar interests as you here at Carolina.
I also think it's important that you maintain the relationships you have now while in college. So the friendships you made in high school, the relationships with your teachers, whatever, maintain those, because that's going to be so important for your mental health here. My freshman year, I legit didn't talk to my parents like a month. Not on purpose, but I was just very stressed out. If I did talk to them, a quick text here and there. And I finally like FaceTimed them. Like they helped me like get over all the stress of like exams and the hard work so quickly. I also have a friend who's from Wilson, and she's been my friend since I was in like 4th grade, and I FaceTime her legit every single day. And she's like one of the main reasons why I'm able to like keep going, keep pushing, and like get through the hard work of college.
Yeah, I think like kind of going on that, the friends that you make here are also a resource.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I know sometimes I neglect to ask my friends about, what's going on, or if I have something that I need, like emotionally, like just talk to them about it. I know I fail to do that sometimes, and we have things on campus that can help you with that as well. Whether you go to CAPS or something similar, which is counseling and psychological services, and then just like Elizabeth was saying, in terms of like identity coming from a small town, it can be hard to, if you have interests that aren't held in that small town like I did, coming to somewhere where your interests are going to be represented and you can find groups on campus that align with those interests. For me, it's politics. We have a great Institute of Politics on campus. It's new. It gets thousands of dollars a year. And coming to Carolina, that's really one of the main things, is that we have so many resources at our fingertips that I think a lot of students fail to use, whether it's like going to seminars, which I didn't do and now I do, and it's just amazing to hear like guest lectures. H.R. McMaster was here last night. Just things of that nature.
Yeah, going off of like services. So this is my second semester here, and my first semester, I think as I did, what a freshman would do is neglect all of the resources because well, for me specifically, I was like afraid of asking help. But then second semester came along and I went to CAPS. They helped me, counseling and psychological services, helped me out a lot. And then I even I've used the Writing Center for a couple of papers, just because at my previous institution, I never had to do like 10-page papers for, an exam or something. But so yeah, they helped me out. And then there's always professional talks and workshops that you can go to. So UNC is always helping you out in resources and stuff like that. So I would just say use them, because you might think that, I don't really like have to go, but like I just like don't want to go, but they are super beneficial.
And so we want to feed off of the resources, because that's one of the big things here on campus at UNC, is there are a lot of resources, and you guys have hit on many of them. When we first met to talk about this, there were other resources that you suggested that students try as well, from very simple tasks to finding resources, and then how to get to the resources and allowing for the time to get to the resources. So could you talk about how you did that? What other resources, the importance of email, the importance of Sakai, the importance of all the kind of things you don't really want to have to do, but really need to do to be successful here at UNC?
I think one of the things, like coming from a small town, that got overlooked when I first got here was the bus system. It's really nice to have a free transit system in Chapel Hill. Anyone can get on it. You can go anywhere you need to go. The key thing to that is learning the bus routes. Otherwise, you're going to end up in Carborough or somewhere you have no idea where you are. But you always have resources to learn those things. There's bus maps. There's an app called Next Bus that tells you when the next bus is coming. Things like that I think really get overlooked, but definitely when you get here, learn the bus routes.
You also mentioned, I'm sorry, can I just piggyback on something Thomas has said before, talking about your syllabus?
Oh yeah,
so talk about that one before we go on.
Yeah, so
in
high school, you kind of go into a class and the teacher's like, okay, don't forget you have homework due tonight, or don't forget you have a paper due in 2 days. In college, it's a little bit different. You'll come into class. Usually the first week of class is devoted to going over the syllabus. I guess the first day is really more than the first week, but the professor will go over the syllabus one time. You're expected to print that syllabus. What I do is I print all my syllabi out. I hang them up around my desk so that I can keep on track of all my tasks, and I highlight things that are coming up soon, write them down in other spaces if I need to. But if you have a 10-page midterm paper, you're not going to get any reminders to do that. You just kind of have to, if you're one of those people that can do it all in one night, then go right ahead. If you're one of those people that has to write a page a day for this many days, then you have to prepare to do that.
I think piggyback, going off of that, is that I never used a planner until I came to Carolina. Just talking about time management. It's my 4th year at Carolina. I went through 4 different types of planners to figure out which one was the best type for me, and I finally found one. And I've tried Google Calendar, which doesn't work out either. So I like physically writing everything down. So I print out my syllabus every single day, like the first day, and I write all my quizzes, homework, and like days they are due. And then I have like different boxes of where I can put extracurricular activities or things that I'm interested that have nothing related to school. And I also work. I have a work study job, so I make sure I have those dates and times like written down in my calendar, is where I can have, it basically has my whole life in that calendar. So it's really beneficial to, once you come to UNC, finding a planner, like continue, like it's not, you're not going to find the right planner the first time, but just keep going and keep buying different types of planners until you find the one that fits you.
Yeah, I actually use Google Calendar, and it changed my life because I don't have to like write it down. I have it right on my phone, and I may go a little extra, but I put all the classes, and I like reserve time slots for each thing. Like, oh, I need to do this homework at this time. I don't always follow it also, so I'm not perfect, but it is helpful to keep up and helpful in like time management.
I think also talking about all of this, like when we mentioned 10-page papers or these huge tests, I mean, that in and of itself, just talking about that, I know can be kind of stressful. You probably haven't had to do anything like that, but it's just one of those things where, you know, if you get overwhelmed and you feel like you don't belong or anything of that nature, like it's always good to kind of ground yourself and remember, like, I got into this school with my own merits. I'm here for all the same reasons that everyone else is here. Yeah. So kind of just reminding yourself of that. Take care of yourself, basically. Yeah.
So I went to a like professional workshop that I heard about from one of my professors, and it was very interesting to see, like, I think just like talking with people that you're definitely not alone. Everyone has these same thoughts, like, oh, I didn't think I would be able to do this like research work because I didn't think I was smart enough, or I don't think I am up to that challenge or whatever. But you start talking to people around you and you're like, whoa, we all think the same. We all have the same ideas and think the same way. So it's like really helpful to just, once again, put yourself out there and talk to people. And like you said, take care of yourself, because it can all get really jumbled up together and start to be super stressful.
And it's kind of like we were talking about earlier. I think it's also two sides of the same coin, where it's good to step out of your comfort zone, and it's good to join organizations. But then on the other hand, don't overwhelm yourself with organizations. Don't overwhelm yourself with. Don't come here and say, I'm going to take 18 credit hours and I'm going to join 10 clubs, or even like just 5 clubs. Like, find 2 or 3 things that really make you feel good and do those things. That's a good piece of advice as well.
Okay, what about the importance of email?
Yeah, I got it. Read your emails. That's like the most like important thing. Read your emails. Check it daily. Read it. I've had so many situations where I didn't read emails, and like say I have a meeting, I'll like show up to the wrong building because I didn't read it right, or like the wrong room, or like the wrong time. Like, read your emails, especially from your professors. They cancel class sometimes. So you have to read your emails. Like, I wake up, first thing I do is check my email, hoping to cancel class, you know? And like, you don't want to be a person who goes to class and it's canceled, you know? You feel so sucky. So read your emails. So important. Don't skim it. Read it.
Yeah, and at UNC we use Outlook, which kind of the desktop version, I don't know, it's always kind of jarring to me the way that it's set up. So there's an Outlook app for the phone, and I use that, and I have my notifications set on, so anytime I get an email, it comes up just like a text or anything, and I'll read it that way because I think the Outlook app is a little less ugly.
So yeah, going back to like Fall Festival or Fall Fest, where you're going to go and sign up to 100 listservs thinking that you're going to do everything your first year. I still am on all those listservs I signed up. But it's really nice for you to just to like skim it if it's not something that you're like one of the organizations you're super involved with. It's always helpful just to skim it to see like resources, because through one of the emails that I read, it was an opportunity to study abroad in Peru, and I had never like gone to any of the meetings for the organization or anything, and I felt like, oh, like just why not? Like I wasn't expecting anything out of it when I applied to go to the study abroad program in Peru. But then like I applied, it wasn't a super hard application, but 4 weeks after I found out I was accepted, and it was after my first year at Carolina, and I found out I was going to go for a whole summer in Peru, which it was my first time studying abroad by myself. So I wouldn't have this experience if it wasn't just like reading through my emails. So you can always find really nice and life-changing experiences through your emails.
And like, yeah, similarly, the listservs that you sign up for at Fall Fest, like if you're reading through them and it's like, here's a position you can apply for, like apply for it. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no and you can do it again later. Everything that I've applied for since I've been here, I'm like, well, no way I'm going to get this. And then before I know it, I'm the opinion editor of a political review, and it just kind of stumbles into your lap. And it's another one of those things where you don't know if you're qualified for this. But just like I said, the worst thing that can happen is that you don't get it. You can get it again at some other point or try for something else.
I remember coming out of high school and not knowing like the importance of emails, and now you can definitely see how it changes you, because every 2 minutes when I'm like trying to procrastinate on doing something, I'm like refresh an email, like trying to refresh, see if I got any emails, because I'm like, it brings the same happiness as like a notification on social media or something. So yeah.
Also, I think I have worked with an organization where we mentor high school students and help them through the college process. And I think one thing they were really shocked was that once you come to UNC, you realize there's a way to format your emails and like to send to your professors. First of all, you realize you always have a header. You reply like, hey, Dr. this, or hey, Professor King, and you put a comma and then you go a space down. And it's like the way you format your emails is totally different from what you would send as a text message. And this really like stands out to the professor, and it really it kind of gives them an image of who you are, and like if there's that respect. So, and I mean, this is something that they don't teach you coming into Carolina, like, oh, you have to format your emails. Don't just say, hey, teacher. It's like there's different titles. We have doctors here, so make sure you address a professor the correct manner, and then just make sure you always sign it. Also, like thanks, Elizabeth here. At least make sure like there's a format.
Just say professional.
Yeah, be professional.
Yeah, I know, like being like social sciences majors, some professors won't even respond to you if you don't format the emails correctly. That's what one of my professors says on syllabus. Like, I would not respond to you if you did not format your email correctly. So that's always interesting.
Some professors like sticklers for their titles. Like they're a doctor, but like they're teaching like something like I don't know, like
a general ed course,
social, something like that, and you won't like know to say doctor because you don't associate with it. They'll get mad at you sometimes. Like I've had that before.
I would say
it's not common, but it happens.
Like most of the time during your first year, especially, your professor is going to have a PhD, and it's just like quickly Google, like if you're sending them, Google their name, see if they have their PhD or not, and if they do, doctor. Yeah. Anyone else usually it's fine with their first name, like a TA or something.
Or you'll understand how, like, if they're once after that second, like the first email, and then they reply, you can kind of see like, oh, they're more lenient, or but regardless, always be professional. You can never go wrong that way. So like you said, like Google up real quick who you're talking to, and grammar, like that sort of stuff. It's small things, but it does help.
Yeah, and then even going off that, make sure you have something in the subject.
Something in the subject.
Your professors really they have like 400 to 500 students. So make sure, especially as your first year, they have like really big classes. So make sure you put either your PID or the class and the section. Just otherwise, they will probably never read your email, and that's why they didn't respond.
Generally, like I know some professors, they'll tell you, like, if you want to contact me, email me, you got to put this in the subject. Like, you got to, or I'm not going to look at it. So, yeah. And that's usually in the syllabus. So,
In the syllabus, yes.
Another thing we haven't talked about is Sakai, which is where you can access the syllabus for your classes. Sakai is basically just like I don't know, in high school if you use like Blackboard, it's kind of similar to that. You'll get a section for each of your classes. Like if you're in 4 classes, you have 4 sections. You can go to the specific section. It'll have like readings if you have them, the syllabus, other students that are in the class and their emails. It's really just anything you could ask for. So,
but you also have to keep up with
Yeah.
Sakai too, right?
Yeah.
There could be quizzes or tests or
Yeah.
things on Sakai that, again, you have to put in your calendar or your schedule. Or
Sakai has a Dropbox, and some of my professors want me to put the papers in the Dropbox. Some of them want me to print the papers. Some of them want me to email them the papers. So you always have to also
Go
kind
back
of,
to the syllabus.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
please, whatever you do, don't ask for extra credit.
unless they say something.
they like, kind of hint at it.
It's usually like polar opposites. So like one professor offers no extra credit at all, and the other one will offer like 20
So
different
much, yeah.
opportunities. So.
Yeah, which usually is stated. Usually don't ask for
Yeah.
extra credit.
Well, I wanted to just give a plug really quickly about the e-blast that we send from Covenant once a week. It comes out on Monday, and we always have opportunities in there. It comes through your email. So again, if you don't read your email, you're not going to know about the Covenant opportunities that we have. And we have partnerships with other organizations and departments on campus, from career services to CAPS to wellness, study abroad, global experience, honors program, Sonia Stone Center, Women of Worth, those kinds of things. And we specifically pick certain things that are important for Covenant scholars. So please make sure if you decide not to read your email that you know you're going to miss opportunities. And I just received an email yesterday saying I wish I had taken advantage of more opportunities through Covenant, because one of the things is we're more than just financial aid, which is very important to get the financial aid, and we completely understand that, and we can talk about that as well. But that information is going to come through email. All your financial aid information, all the information for Covenant, it will come through your email. So we cannot stress enough to please read your email and prioritize professors in Covenant, depending upon the order that you want to prioritize it in. So that I just wanted to make sure I reiterated that, because sometimes people will miss things and then they're sad they missed it because that was an opportunity missed. And one of the things that's really hard for us here at Covenant, but I know that high school students will ask, they will ask, I'm sorry I missed the meeting, but when are you having another one, or could you send me the handouts? It's an experience that if you decide to participate in, you're going to get the information. If you choose or miss an opportunity, it's a missed opportunity. We will have others, and you can join in on that, or you can schedule an individual appointment with either me or Dr. Goward and come in and talk about that as well. So just want to put a plug in for the e-blast, everybody to pay attention to the e-blast. So any other words of wisdom that you guys would like to impart?
Well, I was going to say, just as Covenant scholars, you are assigned a mentor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this, not too long ago, as a first year at Carolina, I went to one of the mentor meetings with the other Covenant scholars, and I missed the first one, also because of an email. Actually, I didn't think I could make it, but I did receive the email. But I went to the second one, and it was a free dinner, and as a college student, you love free food. So it was a free dinner, and I got to meet other Covenant scholars and meet with a mentor, and he was super helpful. He's mentioned, this goes beyond financial aid. If you need any kind of assistance, that he knew how to connect me with the right people. So go to that dinner, and you can also make friends. So it's once again bringing up that connection part of coming into college.
Yeah, and even with that, my first year, I went to the first covenant meeting, and that's where I met like one of my friend that is still after 4 years, we're still best friends. So yeah, these meetings really do help you, and help you connect with people, and eventually you'll make everlasting friends.
Don't be afraid to go by yourself.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like, like trying to bring a friend, like, can you come with me to this thing, to this dinner, to this meeting? And eventually you'll have to realize, you'll realize not everyone's going to want to go with you to things. Because people are busy. So go by yourself, get out of your comfort zone, and you're going to realize you can make friends there or mentors, which are helpful.
Yeah, if you're not a basketball fan, prepare to be a basketball fan for at least 4 years.
I think something that always gets overlooked, and I realized it was more of a problem whenever you came into, because once like registering for classes, you never get taught really how to register for classes. It's really important. So there's all these different websites at Carolina. So we talked about your Hill Mail, which is basically Outlook, which is where you're going to receive all your emails that's connected to your UNC email. Sakai is basically where all your classes are going to get posted, and you can look to find your syllabus, like information, messages from your professors. And then there's Connect Carolina, which has like all, like if you have any dues, if you need to pay anything, is usually shown there. And then also it has like a to-do section, which will have every year you have to reapply for financial aid. So like if you miss something, it'll have those documents. Otherwise, I remember my first year, my like scholarship with Covenant Scholarship, but like it didn't come in until like 2 weeks later, because I never looked to my Connect Carolina, and it said I was missing one of the documents that needed. So make sure you can, especially every year, make sure you're looking at that. And then also through Connect Carolina is where you're going to register for classes. And during like your orientation, they're going to talk about it a little bit, but don't be afraid to ask questions, because I feel with me, I was so scared to speak up or even ask questions, because I felt like everybody knew everything and I was the only one that didn't know. And so then when it came to registering for classes, I like registered late. I like was taking so many classes that at the end of it, if I could go back now, I would have taken other classes instead of the ones I took, because I just wasn't well informed. So it's really important for you to ask questions. If you really like don't know something, don't be scared to ask a question, because at the end of it, you're going to benefit more, and the embarrassment is going to go away eventually from speaking up.
Just going off the registration, when applying for classes, like I remember the mistake I made my freshman year. I applied for like all these hardcore classes, thinking I could handle it, thinking it was like similar to high school. I could do the same amount of work, same amount of studying, put in the same amount of effort I did in high school versus like here. But here they challenge you. Classes are more challenging. You gain a lot more from it, more information. The professors generally want to see you do good. So it's very different than high school. So definitely when you're making your classes, don't make it like super hard. Don't do like 2 sciences, a chemistry and bio, a lab, and all that. Like just keep it simple, get acclimated, and then if you feel you can handle it, then do it the next semester.
Perfect. Thank you. And we're going to wrap this up. But one of the things I wanted to jump off on from what the student said, from what I think Maribel said, is orientation. Please make sure that you come to orientation. You can look at the Covenant website, and we have all of our summer orientations online. So you can come and you can meet Ann Trollinger, who is our Covenant Financial Aid Specialist. We talking about a connection. You really want to get to know her, because she is a specialist in our funding, and she can answer all those questions. So you want to do that. You also, to jump off what Covenant scholars are saying, is come to the Covenant welcome reception, which will be the first few weeks of classes. That's where you'll meet your mentor. That's where you'll meet some lifelong friends. And you'll recognize faces across campus, because we'll have about 700 new students coming in. So you're not going to be alone. You will be in very good company, and we will take very good care of you, and we will feed you. So don't forget that part. That's very important. So I really wanted to thank Thomas and Elizabeth, Maribel and Elizabeth and Kayla for being here today. As you could hear from the year they're in college and their major, they're incredibly busy Covenant scholars. So they've made this transition and it's wonderful and delightful, and you can see all the smiles on their face. And so I hope this was really helpful for you and that it would help ease your transition coming from a smaller town into a larger environment and feeling like you belong here. So with a hearty Tar Heel chant, we are going to send you off. Go Heels!